And can I start, first of all, by saying how delighted I am to be back here in Cardiff. I normally have a very happy time when I'm in Cardiff. I've been coming for the last couple of decades, and apart from a certain occasion 8 years ago, which was a sporting occasion when my team lost to France, it has always been a joyous experience. And I look forward to further joyous occasions in the future. Now, to the matter at hand, I simply had a strapline to work on, which you see on the screen. And I thought I was speaking for an hour and a quarter. I found out yesterday that you'll be pleased to know that I'm only speaking for 15 minutes. So I have a compendious amount of information to hand. So what I'm going to do is to spare you that. You will find on the screen or through the good offices of the university that not only will my slides be available, but also a detailed written text of the entire speech that I would have given will be available for you should you wish to seek to cure your insomnia. So without further ado, let me explain what I am going to cover for the next 15 minutes. First of all, I'm going to illustrate some of the benefits of pre-market engagement. I will then follow on to talk to you about some of the methods by which authorities can engage with the market. I will then follow that up with a slide which attempts to explain in a holistic view how all those inputs can come together and how modern procurement practices should drive a better market outcome, and then finish with some do's and don'ts with regard to pre-market engagement. If I manage to canter through that in 15 minutes, we'll be doing well. So, first of all, the benefits. We basically, I think, have been unduly constrained by the processes. And what we've got to do is to free ourselves from the shackles of the past and make the processes work for you rather than just simply following a process. You know, manage the market. You know, there are ways in which communication has to be a two-way process, so you can use it to accomplish a lot of your aims. Help with consultations with suppliers prior to defining your requirements. What we have seen in the past has been all too often ill-conceived requirements which the course of a public procurement tends to deliver a less than optimum solution. It's a good idea to have a feasibility study. Fancy that. And I know, because it's public knowledge, that one UK government department, the Department for International Development, the head of procurement there insists that in their business cases that his and buyers should show evidence of contact with suppliers. You can't just circle around the wagons, navel gaze. You have to go out. You have to look into the market and see what they're doing. That will help you to optimize your timescales. It will assist you with your market preparation. And finally, early stage questions and answers. You have to look at it this way. There are many ways in which you could and should engage with the market. And I want to sort of attempt to now cover some of them. Crowdsourcing. You can use electronic media. I know that in the UK, we tend to use Twitter to communicate policy developments. I think one-on-one meetings with suppliers, but from a practical point of view, I would recommend having at least two of you in the room. Have an active listener who sat with you, because we all know that when you're speaking and writing things down, you sometimes forget what the other person's saying, and if you're writing, you're not thinking. Have an active listener with you really helps you in your one-on-one meetings. The next thing I would say is a product surgery, when you can ask the market to present possible solutions. You can put up hypotheses. You can ask people for feedback. And now I come on to the prior information notice. When you've read about half a dozen pins, you start to lose the will to live. Frankly, pins make reading death notices in the paper really exciting. And that's not the way it should be. You're trying to engage, you're trying to excite the market. As a thought experiment, and I was coming here on the train yesterday, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be a good idea to, instead of asking for a pin, but rather give the same content to your marketing or your communications department and ask them to produce a flyer seeking to excite the marketplace? Wouldn't that be good? Because the whole rationale, the whole ethos of a marketing or communications department is precisely that, to put the best face forward. Instead, what do we typically do? We give the pin to our procurement folks, and they're very good and they're very talented, but they're quite all too well aware of the risks. And we have heard, and I've taken great note from previous speakers, about the importance of flexibility. Flexibility is absolutely key. And that leads me on to industry boot camps. Back in the day, when I was a lawyer in private practice, I would hustle for clients. You have to. And to do that, I would blag my way into conferences and trade fairs where the clients were. And it dawned on, and then when I was there, I would find out that so many of them, even though they were registered and they paid the fee, very few of them would actually attend the formal meetings. Instead, what they would do is speak to their other business partners. And you know why? And it dawned on me. They're time limited. So there are relatively few occasions when they can meet with their fellow competitors with whom they might wish to cooperate. And so that's why it's a really good idea, if you're a public sector buyer, to go and visit some of the trade fairs. You've got relatively limited resources, so you pick and choose the public occasions in which you're going to interact with the marketplace. Well, there's a saying that if Muhammad can't come to the mountain, then the mountain should come to Muhammad. And I think we need to be a lot more proactive when it comes to going out there and finding the people who want to do business with us. And I would also mention the Solutions Exchange, which is an online tool that is there to help buyers to engage earlier with the market. I think online media and crowdsourcing and general electronic engagement helps to promote flexibility, and that's the essence of it. Don't be constrained by the dead hand of the past. Remember that we're in a pre-market engagement phase. To talk to Paul's point, which was an excellent point about confidentiality, suppliers are always hesitant, as Paul rightly remarked, on revealing proprietary information. Back in the day when I was employed by a global IT company, what we would say to suppliers first of all was, before we agree to receive your information in confidence, please give us a taster in non-confidential form. Then we can decide whether or not we wish to receive it in confidence. So there's how you manage that particular practice. And if somebody wants to engage with you and wants to tell you something, then before they do, say to them, please be aware, I am going to make public the information that you tell me because I want to ensure proportional treatment and equality of opportunity to the buyers. Are you still willing to tell me? That's a good way of managing the market. Yeah. This is a slide we use in the Crown Commercial Service. It makes an obvious reference to the double helix. And for those of you who might be colourblind, let me explain that the dotted line is the bad practices of the past. The X and Y axes of the graph, this refers to the time spent on value-added activity, and along the other axis, it refers to the activities. What you'll see, and pre-market engagement talks very much to this, is that we are looking to front-load that activity. And I know Paul mentioned lean sourcing, and it's there in a lot of detail on the Cabinet Office website. Develop your requirements so that in Rumsfeldian terms, you turn the unknown unknowns into at least known unknowns. You know what you don't know. And so that's why you engage with the market. That informs you. You then hope through the provisions that the Commission has outlined to simplify the procurement process. And then I've spent a lot of my career in commercial management, where with a lot of suppliers, particularly in the IT and telecoms industry, the moment you sign the contract is the moment that they start renegotiating it. And so if I have £1 or €1 for everyone who said to me, oh, well, we'll sign the contract, we'll put it in the drawer and forget about it, I think, oh my God, well, you'll be talking to the lawyers then sooner than you would wish. And that's why I'm fascinated by our Dutch colleague, Chris, and what he was describing about the code of conduct. I'm going to explore that and take that learning back, if I may, to government, because one of the difficulties that I do see with the new regulations is that what's my remedy if somebody breaches it? Do I export across the remedy provisions? Well, gosh, that might mean if I'm disgruntled that someone hasn't followed the procedure, I've got to, I've got to mount an action in the High Court. Well, you know, I'm a SME, and the cost of issuing a writ is many thousands of pounds, and a week in the High Court is going to cost me minimum of £100,000. I don't think so.
You can do it in 30 days as well.
Exactly, whereas I think the Dutch idea is to be commended to you all. Ease of access and ensuring that there is an onus on the suppliers who wish to continue to engage with us in the marketplace to play fair and, dare I say, play cricket. And the Dutch are an associate nation who's very good at cricket. So the next slides you can see on the screen. Finally, I want to just touch on do's and don'ts. And I think it's worth just stepping back and asking ourselves, well, why did we think that we were constrained in the past? Yeah? And I think it was because of a presumption that one-on-one meetings with a potential supplier might have foreclosed the possibility of competition in the market. Not so. These new regulations put the seal on good procurement practice. They're what we should have been doing all along. But what they do is they say, well, you thought you were right. Yes, we're absolutely going to tell you. You're absolutely right. And that's why they are to be welcomed. We've heard how you can use confidentiality to ensure that you don't disadvantage suppliers. Discuss the outcomes. As I said before, it's okay to turn the unknown unknowns into known unknowns. Put up your questions. A supplier, they like to show you that they've got the inside track on the truth. You know, just a few hints and tips. Brilliant, because that enables you to start thinking, oh my goodness, maybe I need to think my requirements in a different way. Gosh. We need to be more forward and more proactive as a procurement profession to ensuring that those people who want to foist solutions on us have got the confidence of the marketplace. Speak to a proportionate number of suppliers, good idea. We've discussed and heard about splitting into smaller lots. I think the final message that I would wish to leave you with is that what we really need is a change of culture, a change of attitude. It's really okay to have a meaningful conversation with potential suppliers because it will inform your requirements, improve your benefits, and the new regulations enable us to go forward with confidence. Thank you.